Hi everybody, this is Donna with Northstar Tarot. Welcome to my channel. I'm here to do a VR to Boho Tarot, or Dawn Michelle now I think is what she's calling her channel. So it's Dawn Michelle Tarot, I believe. Anyway, this VR is It Takes a Village 2022. So we're going to look at my cards, what I choose to make up my village, okay? So yeah, so here we go. I'll get right into it, not wasting any time. And yeah, and we'll see how it goes, okay? So anyway, my first deck for the village is the guide. So it's your personal deck, the one that calls to you. This one, this is the Divine Tarot, Legend of the Divine Tarot. This deck calls to me. It speaks my name. Whenever I'm, stuck or I'm feeling, it doesn't matter if it's good, bad, or indifferent. This is the deck I go to. If a friend calls and or a client calls and they're having a real difficult kind of moment and they really want just a quick answer, I will go to this deck, okay? I just love it. So here it is here. There's reversals because I read reversals. So just so you know. But this is a beautiful deck. It tells me everything I need. It's very clear. It doesn't mess around with messages. It just, it's to the point. I can trust it. It feels so good to me. The energy is so good in this deck. And, I just love it. It gives me clarity. It gives me, there's so many reversals. It gives me a lot of confidence. It's just a really, really good deck. I relate to it. I understand it really well. I don't know. It's based on the Rider-Waite-Smith system, so it's very simple to read, but it just, I don't know, it just gives me that balance that I need, It just gives me that, I don't know, a security, I guess, I'm sure of it. It gives me that assurity. I don't have to even think about it twice. I know this deck is going to guide me and give me the knowledge that I need. It's just so wonderful for that. And it's just absolutely wonderful. Anyway, this is my deck that I go to as my guide, and I just think it is so right on the money. It just gives me that kind of reading. So that is my guide. So, don't know what I'm going to do with these while I'm doing them. Okay, this one I'll just put here. So the next deck, that is a supportive deck for me. And I just feel like, again, this one I can, I trust, I feel good about. It's the Morgan Greer. So yes, I'll put that over on this side. It's the Morgan Greer Tarot, okay? I just find that the Morgan Greer is just, again, it's spot on. Again, it's, it supports me. It tells me, what I'm doing wrong, what I'm doing right, what I need to do in the next circumstance. It really, really just, it's a gentle, it's not harsh, but it gives me good points, and it's just really, really kind, and really, even the harsh part is kind, it gives me this little pagan feel. I just love it. It just right up my alley. It makes me feel good. It makes me feel like I'm at home with this deck, and it just supports me no matter what's going on with my life, so whether I'm having a good day, a bad day, it doesn't seem to matter. What matters is, it's always there for me. It answers my questions easily. Yeah, and again, it is a Rider-Waite-Smith kind of you know, clone kind of thing, or at least, you know, is on that, not a clone, but follows that system. And I am a Rider-Waite girl. So, yeah. So, yeah. So I just love the Rider-Waite Smith. And, you know, I just think, for me, that's my go-to, right? So, yeah. So, anyway, so when it comes to, you know, my supportive deck, they call it, the list is called the Caregiver as a support deck. And yeah, so this is my Caregiver. This is the one that makes me feel good. You know, that no matter what's going on, she will have the answers for me, and I don't have to worry. You know, I don't have to, you know, I don't have to fret at all. And I just sit with her and hold her and shuffle her and, you know, and then I just look for my messages. And this is, yeah, this is my wonderful Caregiver, the Morgan Greer. Okay, so next is the Muse. So the Muse is your creative work deck. So yeah, I just still don't know where I'm going to put these. Okay, so my creative work deck. This is a deck that I absolutely love. It's a beautiful deck. It is the Painted Tarot by Sophie McKay Knight. Yeah, so this is the back of it. It's just gorgeous. And this is the front. Again, very, very gorgeous. The colors are so beautiful. It's such a beautiful deck, and it's just so inspiring, you know? And as a muse, it definitely inspires me. It gives me, you know, ideas. It sends me in the direction of hope, new stuff, you know, like it excites me to find something new. It's just, yeah, when I want to be creative, I look at all the colors and I look at all the paint strokes and I look at all this creativity in this deck, and I just want to mimic that. I just want to be able to mimic that in my mind. Even though, you know, I can't draw, I can't paint, but I want to mimic it in my mind, you know? And yeah, and it's just something that this deck is just so beautiful, and it just reminds me of all the creativity in our life to make our life work, to make our life have meaning, to bring your own touch to things, no matter how big or how small. You know, Sophie dedicated a long time to doing this deck, and she worked very hard, and, you know, it's just a beautiful deck. The images are just so wonderful, and you can go so many places in your mind in it, you know? And I just feel like it's just a wonderful deck. All the kings are black and white, but there's so much detail. You know, every stroke means something, right? And you can just get lost in this deck when you look at its creativity. Look at that death card. It's just so gorgeous. So yeah, anyway, this is definitely my muse. So when I'm feeling like I need some creativity, I need some inspiration, this is the deck I turn to. So yeah, so there you go. This is the Painted Tarot. Okay, so the next prompt is the Counselor. So it is the family deck. So the family deck for me, I know, is the Witch's Tarot, okay? Ellen Dugan, sorry. Yeah, this is the Witch's Tarot. I love this deck. To me, it's a beautiful deck. It speaks volumes. This is the back. The back is just gorgeous. It's a gorgeous deck. Yeah, it's just a wonderful deck. So yeah, so the Counselor, the family deck, everybody I know is represented in this deck, you know? All my friends, all my people, all my people I can see in this deck. And I can relate to them in this deck. And when it shows me things, it makes sense to me, you know? I can have compassion when maybe I wouldn't have it on my own without this, right? And I can really, really get an idea of what they're going through or what I'm going through. It's just a wonderful, wonderful deck that allows me to be open, that allows me to be supportive, that supports me as well. So yeah, so the Counselor, the Witch's Tarot, is just a beautiful deck for me. It just makes sense. You know, there's my sister, you know, like, you know, I can just call out the people in my life, you know. And, you know, this is my girlfriend, you know, she's so strong. And, you know, and when I need to turn to her, she's there, right? And like, I know it, you know, I just love this deck. And I just think it just speaks volumes. So for me, you know, this is the deck when you know, I need a little bit of counseling, or when family members need a little bit of counseling. This is kind of one of the decks that I turn to. Anyway, gorgeous deck. This is the Witch's Tarot. There's got to be a better way to do this, but, you know, but yeah. So there we go. That is the Witch's Tarot. And then our next category is the Spiritual Work deck, the Priestess, and the Mystic. And I chose the Fountain Tarot. Now, I don't know, to me, this tarot deck feels a little magical. You know, it definitely has that magical feel for me. It has that magical look. It has all the colors that are so soft and beautiful, and, you know, and the images that just kind of skirt by, and, you know, they're not in your face, you know what I mean? So you can do spiritual work, you can find your own meaning, there's so many different avenues that you can take these cards, and you can get so much out of them. And because they're not so full, you know, they're not minimal, but they're not really full either. And I feel I can find my own meanings in the background as well, and it talks to me, and it tells me, you know, the other messages that I need to pull. It allows my intuition to just soar, and I really, really like that about this deck, you know. So it gives you its meaning, and then it goes beyond. You know, the colors are very good for maybe my imagination or whatever it is, but it really sparks my intuition. And I feel like I can soar, you know, and I can do a lot of work with this deck. This deck works very, very good for me for spiritual work. So yeah, I really just love it. It's an absolute gorgeous deck. Nothing, you know, crazy fancy about it, nothing like that, but I just love it. It just means a lot to me. And again, I can think with this deck. I can go places with this deck. I can think of other things. I get lost in the colors and in the, you know, the images. And yeah, I just think it's just wonderful. So anyway, this is probably my favorite two of coins. You know, I just think it's just so wonderful. So anyway, that is my deck. For the Priestess, the Mystic, the Spiritual Work deck is the Fountain Tarot. Okay, so our next category is the Elder Sage Advice deck. Okay, so what I chose for the Elder is the Green Witch Tarot. Awesome, 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 right? I'm sure most of you are familiar with it. If you're not, I highly recommend it. It is just a wonderful deck. The back of it's beautiful. It speaks to tradition. It speaks to, everything kind of traditional. Yeah, I guess that's what I want to say, right? So, yeah, so it reminds me of the Elder. It reminds me of sage advice, right? So, yeah, so this is a gorgeous deck as well. Easy to read. It's just gorgeous. It has a lot of detail, very traditional kind of setup, the time it was in, where it is. It's just so beautiful, and it just speaks volumes. It's a wonderful, wonderful deck. So yeah, so for me, it gives me, this child, right? This is just so sweet. It just gives me direction, and it, it gives me the advice I need. It's to the point, and it's like when I'm looking for something out of the ordinary, something that, someone's looking for some real world advice, something, that they haven't encountered before, or I haven't encountered before. When I'm looking for something to help me through, and I'm feeling lost, and I'm feeling like, I've never experienced that, and I don't know the answers, and I'm 63. So, it's really nice to have a deck that will go beyond my experience and beyond my knowledge, and to something I can count on and get the wisdom out of it, And it's just, I don't know, it's just so wonderful. I love this green man. It's just, yeah, I can't say more. I can't say, too much about this deck. It's just so, well, I think this deck says it all, right? So I just think it's perfect. I just love it. Yeah, not too much wrong with this one at all, right? So I think it's just a beautiful deck, and it just resonates with me, and it gives me the advice that I need, and the Elder advice, and they're represented in this deck, so yeah, so I really think this is my Elder deck. So there we go. So this is the Green Witch Tarot. All righty, so we're getting there. All right, so then next we have, the next one is the Teacher, the study deck. So, I had a hard time picking which deck I wanted for that. There's, so many decks I learned so much out of, right? And I learned out of all of them. So, but I chose the Pagan Tarot. I like the Pagan Tarot. So yeah, so this is my Teacher, my study deck. There's the back. Very, very nice, very traditional again, right? But I love this deck. This deck is beautiful. It feels, I like the cardstock. I kind of like everything about this, There's not too much I don't like about this deck. It follows a person in their journey. It's just beautiful. And it just, there's not as much diversity as I'd like to see in this deck. But, I do like it. I do enjoy it. And, yeah, and it works really well. There's enough detail in this deck that I can study, and I'll learn every time I look at it. So it's always showing me something different, you know, and there's always something different that I can land on and use and grow with, you know. So yeah, so it's just a gorgeous deck. Again, I like traditional decks. I like decks that, you know, that are, I don't know, that just, I like, you know, the Rider-Waite-Smith tradition. You know, I just enjoy this deck, you know. Yeah, so I'm quite traditional. I don't have a large collection. I'm not a deck collector. I used to collect decks, and then I had a fire in 2010. And since then, I don't really collect anymore. You know, I lost everything. So it really left, you know, a kind of fear in my, in me where I didn't want to get too attached to anything. But, you know, I do have more than I used to. And yeah, and I love it, you know, so. And now that I'm on YouTube, which I didn't even know this community was on YouTube. I wasn't a YouTube person at all. And my ex-partner encouraged me and you know, and pushed me to get onto YouTube. And I finally did, and then started, you know, watching people in the Tarot Tube community. And it's, oh my God, there's so many people here. So I feel very honored to be part of this community and to be able to just share my opinion with you guys. So thank you. Anyway, this is the Pagan Tarot, and this is my study deck. This is my teacher, okay? So there we go there. And then the next category, let's see here, is the outsider. So the deck that doesn't belong. So let me just finish putting this one away. Okay, so that one, I chose the Del Toro Tarot, or Tarot del Toro. I don't really connect very well with this deck. It's a pip deck, which is fine. I have other pip decks that I really enjoy. I don't know that, first of all, the cardstock, it's okay, but it's very thick. You know, and I mean, some people like that, but to me, it's very, very thick and very sticky kind of thing, you know. Anyway, it's got beautiful colors. It's, you know, it's got a lot of detail on the major arcana. Yeah, see, I can't get it apart, right? I don't like that. I don't know what it is with this deck. Like, you know, there's nothing wrong with it. You know, it's yeah, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. But I just do not resonate with it. And for whatever reason, I don't. I was going to grab a different deck, the Akasha Records Tarot, but I gave that to to my girlfriend to put in her shop as a used deck to sell. So yeah, so because I don't relate to that one either. But this one I do not relate to. There's nothing wrong with it. Like I said, it's a pip deck. But yeah, there's really nothing wrong with it. I just, yeah, just some decks you relate to and some you don't, you know. This one just does not do it for me. And I will probably bring this out to her as well. And she can put this in her used decks for sale. I mean, I'd rather somebody enjoy it and use it than just sitting on my shelf, right? But anyway, this is the outsider, the deck that just does not belong for me. Okay, so we got one left. Oh, we're doing good here. Let me just put this one in. Holy cow, it won't go in. There we go. Okay, whoops. I didn't do that right. Okay, so my new one. So the stranger is what they call it. The new deck in the village. So this would be my new deck. The Guardian of the Night Tarot. I don't have very many animal decks. I love the guidebook. It is so thick. And it's like there's no pictures. So it's all written words. So it's really got a lot of substance to it. This deck is absolutely gorgeous. If you look at the back is just beautiful. You know, it's a gorgeous, gorgeous deck. Okay, so here we go. So this is the new one. So this is the one I need to go through, get to know, maybe do some meditation with it, do some journaling, you know, just get to know this deck, right? Do a few readings with it and just get to know this deck. But oh my God, it is so beautiful. You know, I love how the Queen and King go together. That is so cool. You know, it's just a lovely deck. You know, it's a gorgeous deck. It hasn't even been properly shuffled. So yeah, you'll see these are mostly in order. So yeah. So there's the Pentacles. I love owls. Yeah, I know I'm going to enjoy this deck very much so. So I just need to be able to spend some time with it. So yeah. So that's my next thing to do is spend some time with this and get to know it. Oh, look at the Chariot. It's just a beautiful deck. Oh, look at all the owls. Oh my goodness. So yeah, I'm going to really enjoy this deck for sure. Wow. It's just so, it's so well done, you know. The cards are a little big for me. I've got very small hands, but, you know, I'll make do with it for sure. I like that. So yeah, so this is my new one. So this is the Stranger of the Bunch, and we're getting to know this deck. So yeah, so that is my, what do you call that? That is my village. I would love any comments, or if anybody shares any of the same decks that I do, I would love to hear about it. And again, thank you for allowing me to be part of this community. I'm looking forward to getting to know you all. Anyway, take care, and we will talk to you again soon. Thank you very much for being here.